Welcome to The Dead Life. Here's world-renowned medium, Allison Dubois.
Welcome to The Dead Life. I'm Allison Dubois. Today I have Sophia Dubois in studio to answer call-in questions where we give a Gen X and Gen Z spiritual perspective to listeners with problems. I'm very happy to have her with me today, as always. If you want to book a life or mediumship reading with me, email us at booking@allisondubois.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Medium Allison or on my Facebook fan page. And if you're looking to set your money or love intentions with your coven on Halloween, you can order Divination 22 vodka at bigthirst.com, divination22.com, or pick up a bottle in Scottsdale at One Handsome Bastard to manifest what you want to bring into your life. You can catch up on past episodes of The Dead Life on YouTube, Apple or Spotify, or at Allison Dubois. Not at AllisonDubois.com.
TheDeadLifePodcast.com.
TheDeadLifePodcast.com. Sorry. I'll get it eventually. So, Sophia, thank you for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Is it feeling like fall yet?
No. So in Arizona, for those of you that don't live here, it's currently 88 degrees outside. So
everybody lives here. I'm just
no. But yeah, so it's still very hot. I want to wear the clothes.
Yeah.
It's too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wore a fall color anyway.
I tried. I wore jeans.
You're spring, summer, all year long.
I know.
That's awesome. So, we can't really complain though, because it could be snowing somewhere else. So I'll take this.
No, I wish it was snowing.
Yeah, and then when you're in snow, you're like, oh, it's cold. So yeah, whatever.
Okay.
So we're gonna take some call-ins. I think people have gotten this. Like, we get a lot of off center questions that people have that maybe some other listeners also have, but I try and answer as many of them as I can. And I think when the listeners hear some of these questions today, they'll be like, you really have to think about it.
Well, and we haven't done this in a while. So I think we're catching up for lost time. So you'll be getting a lot more call-in videos. So.
Yeah. And for people who do have a question for us, you can call us at 802-332-3811. You have 3 minutes to leave a message. If you go over that, it cuts out. So try and pack it all into 3 minutes and get everything in that you need us to know.
Yes.
Well, let's go ahead and take the first call in.
Okay.
Hi, Allison. This is Monique from New Jersey. I have a question about my sister. She passed in 2020 while she was living in Hawaii, and our whole family was in Jersey, where we're from. She passed out in a Target and while she was shopping and went brain dead by the time paramedics arrived, and she was taken off of life support after 2 days. And we couldn't go out there because of the strict COVID rules. They basically said you're going to be stuck in a hotel and can't do anything. So it was better for the whole family to stay home and arrange things that way. So the night, I can't remember if it was the night after they took her off of life support or the following night, but she came to visit me along with my grandfather, who passed in 2008, and with his mother, which is my great-grandmother, who I've never met. She died before I was born. He said he was just there checking on my kids. He said, I'm just peeking at the babies. And my great-grandmother, who came in very fierce, she told me two things. She said, don't smoke anymore, and not to visit the ocean for the rest of the summer, like not to go to the beach. She was very forceful about. So my sister and I had like about an hour-long conversation. I had so many questions, and I was like, when did you leave your body? Like, what? It was so many. We were talking like, how sisters talk. But she told me to do good so that I can watch over my babies. I now have 3 kids. I had 2 when she passed. But her voice was coming from like an area in the back of my head. Like, it's hard, and you know what I'm talking about. And I could see like a yellow-orange light, but I couldn't physically see her. And like all three of them have sent me signs over the years, mostly my grandfather and my sister very specifically, but I would love to have like another conversation like that with her or them, or all three of them, everybody. But because I feel stuck in my life right now, and I just don't know how to go about it. Like I've always been very intuitive, and they visit me in my dreams, even my grandmother who died in 2023, but we never speak during them. It's just they're there and that's it. Like I would just love some guidance on how to go about getting a conversation with them again like that. I don't know what to do, but thank you. I love your show and I love you. And I watched Medium years and years ago.
There's the cutoff.
There's the cutoff. Oh, she's sweet though.
Yeah, she's very sweet. Okay, so that was a mouthful.
Mhm.
So we'll try and sort this out.
Yeah.
Her sister passed out in a Target and then was put on life support and taken off after 2 days. You know, each family's got to make their own decision on when to take somebody off, but
I feel like
I
that
like
was
to give them
soon.
some time. Yeah,
2
I feel like
days.
that was a little soon too. And we all know that some sort of messed up things happened during COVID, and a
Mhm.
lot of families didn't get to go to funerals or visit loved ones in hospitals, and women had to wear masks giving birth and all that stuff. Lest we not
They made
forget.
them do that?
Yes.
Wear masks giving birth?
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
So, yeah, I feel really terrible for all of those families. And, you know, having somebody on life support at the time, it's always good to have a plan with a family member that's a little removed that can make clear decisions in those moments, because the immediate family is always overwhelmed by everything going on. And it's good to have a voice of reason that's able to push back if they would have liked to have waited a week or 2 weeks to see if, you know, whatever it was that went wrong with her could heal
Mhm.
or somehow be brought back somehow. Because I do bring through a lot of people who they were in there and they knew their family was there and they could hear them. And I do think that some people get taken off too soon that could have actually healed. Our bodies are miraculous vessels and can heal through a lot of things. So, but with that being said, her sister communicates with her and it's in the back of Monique's head. So I do understand what she's saying. I mean, they communicate in different areas. People can get it differently. In the back of her head where she couldn't see her, but there's like an orange and yellow or gold light.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. If that is her, I guess.
Yeah. It is. And it takes them less energy to appear as light than it does to appear in body.
Okay.
And so I don't know how long after her sister died that communication came through. So sometimes when they first die, they're still figuring it out, the whole process of communication. And, but either way, it takes less of their energy to just show light. And maybe that was something that she just thought was best, the sister did. And Monique feels stuck now because she's intuitive and she gets all these visits from loved ones, but it sounds like doesn't know what to do with it. First of all, I know this sounds super simple. Get a journal, write down all the interactions, date it, you know, put that information in there so you're not physically carrying it around because it does weigh on you. You try and collect the information in your head and hold on to it, and it can make the rest of your life seemingly more stressful. So I find it helpful to have somewhere to physically put the information so you don't hold on to it and just chronicle it as you go through life and what their messages were. I do think it was interesting that was the great grandmother, I think, that said, don't go to the beach.
Yeah, for the rest of the summer.
I'm like, was she going to be a shark snack? Don't go to the beach.
I would just listen to it.
I would
Whatever.
listen to
I'd be
it
like,
too.
okay,
I'd
great.
I'd listen to it, but I'm just, my natural curiosity obviously was wondering. The quit smoking, I think we all get.
Yeah.
And her great grandmother was probably trying to buy her time. And you don't have to have known them in life for them to protect you. And this is something that people really get hung up on in readings. They'll say, I didn't know so-and-so. Doesn't matter.
Mm.
They watched you grow up your whole life. They love you. They feel connected to you and they want to make their presence known often. So I would say that to Monique. I would get to know that family member through photographs and stories and anything that's left behind and make that stronger connection with that grandmother figure. Talk to her, thank her for her guidance. And once you do that, the communication gets a lot stronger and more frequent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so for me, okay, 2 days life support during COVID. I'm curious because she just went brain dead in the middle of Target. Like that's not.
It could have been an aneurysm, something along
I
those
wish
lines.
she said kind of what it was.
They may not have gotten a medical examiner's report or had an autopsy.
2 days, but that's also my question is maybe it is because of COVID and they just said we need this room for other people. And then they felt selfish for keeping her.
Yeah. That crossed my mind. I think they did rush people out at that time so that they had to treat people with COVID. And I think the nursing staffs and all of the medical were overwhelmed at that time and they were cutting losses. But when it's your family member, it's like collateral damage doesn't make us feel any better.
Well, and she was in Hawaii. Right. And they were elsewhere. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, even getting a flight out would be challenging.
Really expensive as well. Probably holding her there for more than 2 days, probably really expensive.
Yeah. And New Jersey to Hawaii isn't like a hop, skip, and a jump.
No. Well, and then Hawaii is more expensive for everything. Everything. So
I feel bad that
I feel bad too.
It sounds like Monique is young and compared to me. And so her sister couldn't have been that old, but aneurysms are one of those things that it's just like an off switch and you just don't know it's coming.
Yeah.
So I feel terrible that was her exit. I guess the only upside to that is she wouldn't have felt any pain. It's so instant.
Well, so I'll ask this question maybe on behalf of her or other people. She had a baby since her sister passed.
So often somebody who passes will facilitate bringing another life into the family to bring balance to it. So for children that are born after a death in the family, they're actually guided and watched over by the person who passed. So the baby that was born's aunt will be with her forever.
That's what I was thinking.
And, or will be with the baby forever. And so that's some comfort, but I think Monique wants to get a grasp on how to sort her visits that she gets.
Communicate with her.
And communicate maybe more regularly. I've talked about this at length. When you go to bed, you put a picture of them, younger usually, but definitely happy, on your nightstand. You look at it, you smile, you think of all the happy memories. You can't think of the death. You can't think of the illness or it blocks them from coming through. Think of every little happy nuance connected to them and just smile and say, I'm ready for a visit, and go to sleep. And it's easier for them to access you while you're asleep. So that's why more people get that interaction because we're not distracted by life. So,
okay.
On to the next?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, Allison. So I just have a quick question. A couple of years ago, I made a YouTube video of me dancing to a song, Beyonce song. It was like one of her songs called Partition. And I was in the moment, I was dancing, I was in the moment, it was going well. And I posted the video. Unfortunately, the video was taken down because of copyright. That's when I, found out about the whole copyright situation. How you can't post certain music to YouTube. So anyway, it was taken down, and my boyfriend at the time, he saw the video, and he said, hey, look at this. And I look at it, and I didn't even notice, but he noticed. It was a big shadow that just like ran by, like behind me, but I feel like it went through me, because when I was dancing in the moment, in the vortex and with flow, and I kind of stumbled, and I kind of like stopped, to kind of like regroup myself, and then I got back in the moment and started dancing again. And right in that moment that I stumbled, that's when you see the shadow, like a huge shadow go by. He even said that the blinds, you can see the blinds, they were shut. There was no windows that were open, none of that. Like, it was just weird. And I wish I still had the video if I knew how, viable it would be today. But, I don't have the video. But I just wonder, what do you think about that? Like, you think there was, like, maybe that song opened up, like, a vortex or a portal for spirits? Was that a spirit? Was it a low-frequency spirit? I don't know. Let me know what you think.
I love that he was burning up the dance floor, getting his groove on.
To Beyonce. I want to be his friend.
I know his voice made you immediately want to friend up with him.
Well, he's like, yeah, I obviously was doing well. And he's like listening to Partition.
He's like, my choreography was on point.
Yeah. And he's like, so maybe that conjured the spirits.
Oh, that's so funny.
Beyonce conjures spirits.
So
I love it.
It's actually one of two things. And the shadow did go through him. They often walk through us to get our attention, but also to sample our energy and to share theirs with us. At the same time.
Yeah.
It's why when people are in hallways, sometimes you'll go and something takes your breath away. It's because somebody walked through you.
I hate that. I hate that.
So it's one of two things in my experience. It's either going to be a family member that he is similar to, who maybe he didn't even know, who also liked to dance or was into music, that's saying, that was dancing with him. Yeah. So sharing that moment with them and experiencing it through him. Also, he probably had elevated energy because he was happy and he was in his vibe, and that can attract the same frequency energies in people who also like to have a good time. So it could have been somebody who didn't even know him, who just connects with him, or a friend that died that he used to go party with, anything like that.
I mean, I remember back in 2012, 2013, when we lived in that house.
Yeah.
And there was that girl that died down the street, but she would go towards me to, like, I don't know. It's like my friend at that,
I think you reminded her of a little sister or something.
So anyway, what I'm saying is, it could have been just someone you didn't know that was trying to catch a vibe with you and liked the song.
Well, that's right, because you and your little friend were making
this
a
happened
dance
to me
video.
too.
Yeah, that's right.
And I made a YouTube video or like a dance video with my friend, and I forget what song, maybe like a Bruno Mars song or something. And Bruno Mars, Beyonce, yes. And the door shut behind me, but it was very slight. Like it was almost closed anyway, the bathroom door, and then it shut all the way.
Yeah.
Maybe like opened or something. I don't remember. It was like 12 years ago.
I remember the video because you captured it on video, and it actually was probably this open, and it just went and shut. And then
and we screamed.
You screamed and ran downstairs, and I was like, what's going on? And you told me what happened. And so I laughed and I went upstairs.
Well, it's funny though,
make sure it was friendly.
It was after Casey and I watched it back. So we didn't realize until we watched back, like you and your boyfriend. So it's like, you don't realize because you're in the moment dancing.
Right,
I definitely get it. I get it.
So when you're in a good place and you're bubbling with energy, other energies that were similar to that feel like being part of the party.
Want to hang out.
They want to be there too. But the good news is you're drawing in a high frequency energy, which is always a good thing.
That is good.
And it's not like a low or dark energy. That would be if you're doing drugs and in this low depressed state, you draw on the dark stuff. So you guys did the opposite. You drew in like the happy-go-lucky, I'm up for anything. Let's do this energy.
Well, so I guess for anyone out there that wants to communicate with someone they lost that was a very big dancer and loved music, maybe put some music on and dance.
That's actually very true. If you play their music, their records, their playlist, they do say it raises your energy and it's easier for them to spend time with you.
Good. I love that.
Communicate with you.
Well, I know you've mentioned too, for people in the car when they're driving, they'll play the music that they loved. And they'll be sitting right there with you listening to it.
They do.
I've heard
they do. I remember my friend Rich Barra, Rich, he's a morning show host on Kiss FM here in Arizona. And we went to the cemetery because it was Halloween and they had me doing some Halloween things for their social media content. I know. And he had his like iPod hooked up or something. So I think I'm dating myself and him a little bit, but it shuffled itself. It shuffled it. He didn't put it on shuffle. He just was listening to his music and it just shuffled itself and stopped on a song and played a song that was connecting him to his mom who had passed. And I've heard that from a lot of people. And I always say they are electric energy. They will mess with your electronics. So if you give them these toys, seemingly toys to them, to communicate with you, music emits emotion and they often will communicate through songs.
Yeah, I know not a lot of people listen to the radio anymore. What a shame. But I did see a video, probably on TikTok or something. But anyway, of somebody, or it was a radio show host, and she accidentally played a song from the 50s, but she had to let it play out fully because, you're not just going to cut it off.
Yeah.
And a ton of people in the comments were like, maybe that was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe someone was supposed to hear that song from someone. So
that's so true. I love how aware people are.
Super
now.
aware.
That's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. So I hope that answered his question. Put the music back on, do another video, throw it up on YouTube. They are funny about their copyright rules.
So maybe do TikTok because they are not funny about it.
Well, right. Yeah, they're not funny about any of that. Put anything up on TikTok.
Well, no, not any. But true, copyright sucks.
But I'd do it again. I'd replicate what I was doing and see if I could get that interaction again, because it seems like somebody wants to be his friend, or a family member or friend who passed is like, I'm right here with you, buddy. I didn't leave you and I'm so proud of you. So it's going to be an upbeat, positive message that's trying to be conveyed. So.
Yeah, I don't think they were trying to make you stumble. They just danced a little too hard, a little too close to you.
I hope it was a friend. I don't hope that his friend died, but I do hope it was a friend of his that he goes, oh,
yeah,
that's Lamont or whoever it is.
Yeah, loved Beyonce's new song.
Yeah. And they'd be like, that's so him, or that's so her. And so that's really cool. But that's how they start communication. And if you get a feeling that it is that person connected to you, or like your dad or a brother, put a picture of them out, start talking to them more, and strengthen the communication.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the next.
Hey.
Hi there. My name's Vanessa. I love the show. I appreciate every bit of advice that you and your family delve out. I am also an Aquarius, so I have that in common with you. And my question is, I've always had a knowing of when people pass away. And I've never really understood why I have that knowing. I am psychic for certain. I have had many, many visions throughout my life that have come to play out. I don't really get them in dreams. They're just in walking life. I'll just almost like black out in a way, and then I'll have a vision, and then it typically will happen that day or the next day or whatnot. Now, the knowing I'm talking about doesn't happen in a vision. It's just this knowing in every fiber of my being that this is the last time I'm going to see that person and they are going to pass. And I'm just curious what that signifies, or why I have that happen to me. And yeah, I would just love to hear any insight. I don't really hear much about that. I know your story with your father, Allison, and I know you felt it was teaching you a lesson that you couldn't change anything. However, I didn't have that same type of experience. It's just, I have a knowing. Anyway, I would appreciate any help with that, and love to you guys and your families and your growing family, as I heard that you're going to be grandparents. All right. I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope to hear an answer. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for that.
Any day now.
Yeah, we're on baby watch right now. Yeah. I'm like, if Fallon, get on a Stairmaster or some exercise equipment, because we need her Well, the sun's still in Libra, but we'll love her no matter what.
Well, yeah, of course.
So, the knowing feeling, I understand what she's saying. I love how she articulated it because yes, mine was specifically to teach me a lesson, but there was an episode of Medium like this where it had the numbers on the forehead. And for the people that used to watch Medium, you'll maybe remember this one where it showed the count of how many days the person had left to live.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So people like us get a feeling of, I always say, how full somebody's gas tank is or their spirit tank, how full it is or how empty it is. And we can gauge that. And sometimes, like with my dad, it's just he's going to die at 67 of a massive heart attack. Boom. Those were the words I was given. It was just that clear. The feeling of knowing that she's getting, I think, is more of feeling the amount of energy they have left in their life, how much time they have left. But there's no lesson involved for her. I get those in restaurants around people too, where I can sense, and it's not just elderly people. Sometimes it's young people where I worry for them, or I've stood behind people before and talked about deaths that have occurred because you didn't put your seatbelt on and hope that that's enough. Because I can't ambush read people. I won't do it. I find it unethical. Mediums that do it, I think, are self-absorbed and do it for their own benefit, and I don't understand that because people don't always want to know, and I know that's hard to believe, but it's true. And you have to respect other people's borders and boundaries. Yeah. So that's the category I'd put that in. So the feeling of knowing something, if you're around somebody and you'd be crossing their borders and boundaries, it's more of I'll have a conversation about that type of death so it gets stuck in their head so that they're mindful of it. Yeah. And that's my way of giving the other side giving it to me and me putting it out and saying, okay, now you draw their attention to that.
Yeah.
That's
and I will
job.
say though, when you do readings where people come to you for information, you will tell them to get their heart checked or you'll be more specific.
Yes.
But I get that when you're just out at a grocery store, you can't be like,
it's different
hey,
with clients.
Get your heart checked.
It's different with clients. It's even been your dad needs to get his heart checked or, I'm picking up on his lungs, need to be scanned. I remember telling a woman to get her chest scan and they found early breast cancer, but they removed it and she was okay. Yeah. So I'll tell clients, and I always say, don't be afraid. I wouldn't be given the information if it wasn't because you're still supposed to be here.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. So, so I think what she's experiencing is very much the same thing as what I do in that respect. So again, the journal can be helpful here where you write it down so you don't physically carry around the fear tied to the passing or the feeling of responsibility tied to how they're going to pass. If it's a family member, for me, I straight up told my dad, I said, get your heart checked. Yeah. Like I was very, very clear and he did. And they said there were no signs of heart disease. And then after he died, the medical examiner, I needed to know. So I had an autopsy performed, which I hated doing because I didn't want to do that to him. And it just said clear signs of heart disease. So then how did the
doctors miss
Heart
it?
Institute miss it? But the medical examiner got it. I'm not a doctor, so I can't answer that. But obviously his passing was supposed to be part of my path, so I accept that. However, if it's a family member in the future, you might mention something to them and just if they resist going to the doctor, I always tell, especially women, I'm like, I know your dad doesn't like doctors. They're like, oh, he hates doctors. I'm like, okay. So he's going to want to know what you want for Christmas or your birthday. Tell him you want to go with him and he's going to get checked and then you're going to get checked. And that's like an act of love together. Right. Yeah. And it works. Yeah. They'll go if they think they're taking care of you. They're what, Dad, don't you love me? Don't you want to know that I'm healthy? And they're like, oh, okay, fine. And they'll go.
I feel like some people though, especially older people, don't want to know because they're scared that they will get bad news. So then they just keep pushing it off and they just don't want to.
Well, there are those. And then there are the people like my grandpa Joe who he didn't tell us that he'd gotten a bad diagnosis on his heart and that he was on borrowed time. And I was young at the time. And he didn't want to be cut into. He was that generation. He's like, I've never had surgery. I've never had a doctor put me on an operating table, and I'm not going out that way. He was like, if this is how I go, this is how I go.
Yeah.
And that's what he told his
Some
wife.
people-
Instead of being weak and debilitated and relying on pills, a lot of them will do that. I've also had the older generations, sometimes especially the men, will, if they get a terminal diagnosis, they commit suicide.
Really?
Yeah, because they don't want to visit the pain and the financial burdens on their family, and they
or
don't
them
want
being weak and not being able to do
right,
things.
and they don't want to deteriorate themselves. They want to go out strong and being who they are. So it's weird. It's almost as if a name has to be created for those people because they're not suicidal. They don't have a chemical imbalance. They just don't want their families being saddled with that burden and lose the house paying to try and save him when he would be a shell of himself.
Yeah.
You know. So that's my 2 cents anyways. So keep on knowing, and sometimes you act on it, and sometimes you got to just put it in the book.
Yes.
So, okay. Well, thank you for going through these questions with me. I love having your perspective, especially you growing up in the household with a fresh mind of being open because you were my child. So you were used to it.
Yeah.
And I like hearing your perspective because my mom was not open to that.
Yeah.
So
I'm super open.
Yes, I know. So this is what healthy looks like.
Well, it's funny too
when
because
you raise them open to the other side.
Well, because I'll even talk to people that are skeptics, right? I have no problem with a skeptic because I've known about them my whole life as well.
Right.
And so I remember the other weekend I was at the bar. This was at Boondocks for the charity event.
Yeah.
And anyway, and this guy goes, I'm a huge skeptic. And I said, that's okay. I said, that's totally fine. I'm not trying to sway you any which way. Like, this is just what my life is.
Right.
And he was like, okay, well, like, do you actually believe in it? And I was like, yes, I do.
That's a stupid question.
I know. Oh, I get it more than you think.
God,
a lot
I'm
of people
sorry,
ask me
honey.
that.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
When people don't grow up around it, they don't understand it as well. They haven't experienced it as much. And human beings are kind of arrogant. They think if they haven't experienced it, it doesn't exist. And with young people, especially, most of them haven't experienced it because most young people haven't lost somebody so close to them that they really need that connection with the person that died so strongly.
Yeah.
And the ones that have lost someone are often more open to it because they need that connection.
Yeah.
So I think that's good that he told you that. I'm totally fine with skeptics, but if I was in the dating world, it would just be an easy exit. I'm like, thanks for crossing yourself
He wasn't
off
someone.
that list.
No. He wasn't someone trying
people.
to date me. He was just some guy. But which is even
just some guy.
He was. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But anyway,
fair enough.
Yeah, that happens. They're skeptics. It's fine.
You know what? And I'm totally fine with that. I mean, I don't mind skeptics. It's cynics. And when you're like, I don't need you to buy into my belief system, but don't try and convince me of yours either.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a mutual respect.
Totally.
So this is why you're so helpful on the show. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right. Tune in next week for a really cool episode with author Rosie Grant, who just released a cookbook called Recipes to Die For. And she scoured the country and collected recipes off of the headstones that were the favorite family recipes. And she made them and then brought them back to the people as an offering, which I love because the Japanese do that as well. Not the recipes, but like the food at the altar.
Yeah.
And she met with families of the person who died and made the cookies and stuff with them and got the story of the person.
That's cool.
I'm really excited to have her on. So we're looking forward to having on Rosie Grant next week for our Halloween episode.
Ooh.
That'll be cool. So Recipes to Die For. So tune in for that. I'm Allison Dubois. This is The Dead Life. And to all of my believers out there, don't stop believing.
Join us next week on The Dead Life. And don't forget to subscribe now to get notified of every new episode.